My beloved soul, before we begin, I want to invite you to take a deep breath and open your heart. This is not just another speech. It is a moment for you to encounter something eternal, something divine. Jesus is speaking not in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of your heart. And before you dive into this message, I encourage you, subscribe, stay connected, because these words may be the very seed that transforms your life forever. Part 1. The Cry of the Lost Heart. Why do you feel lost? Why, even when you wake up each morning, does it feel like you are walking through fog, unable to see clearly the road ahead? Why do you sometimes feel as if your life has no anchor, no direction, no deep meaning that holds everything together? Jesus says, this is why you feel lost in life. The sense of being lost is not random. It is not a punishment. It is not proof that you are unloved. It is an alarm, a divine signal that something inside of you has been disconnected from the eternal truth. It is a sign that your heart is searching for the one who gave it life, you see. The world teaches you to chase many things: money, success, relationships, recognition. But here's the truth. None of these things were designed to carry the weight of your soul. You were not created to worship money or fame or even human approval. You were created to walk with God, to know Him, and to find your purpose in Him. When that connection breaks, the soul begins to wander, and the wandering is what we call feeling lost. The hidden wounds that make you feel lost, some of you feel lost because of pain from your past. You have carried wounds that no one sees: betrayals, disappointments, broken promises. You smiled on the outside but cried silently on the inside. These wounds, left unattended, create an emptiness inside. Others feel lost because you built your identity on shaky ground. Maybe you thought, if I just get this degree, I will feel complete. If I just get married, I will feel whole. Just make enough money, then I will finally rest. And when you achieved some of those things, you realized the emptiness didn't go away. That is because identity cannot be built on temporary things. Jesus says, when you try to define yourself by the world, you will always feel lost. But when you define yourself in me, you will find rest for your soul, the noise that drowns. The voice of God, another reason you feel lost, is because the noise of the world is louder than the whisper of God. Social media, television, constant comparison, all these voices shout at you every day. They tell you what beauty should look like, what success should be, what life should mean. But in trying to meet their expectations, you drift further and further from your true calling. Jesus whispers, but the world shouts. If you do not silence the world, you will not hear the shepherd. And when sheep cannot hear the shepherd, they wander, they feel lost. The illusion of control there is also the illusion of control. You want to map out your whole life, control every outcome, predict every twist and turn. But when life does not follow your script, you feel like you are sinking. Yet Jesus says, you were never meant to control everything. You were meant to trust me. The more you fight for control, the more you lose peace.
Ow.
But when you surrender, you will find your way again. The invitation back home. So part 1 of this message is simple. Feeling lost is not the end. It is the beginning of a call. It is Jesus saying, come home. It is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of longing. Your soul is longing to return to its source. You may feel lost in career, lost in relationships, lost in identity, or even lost spiritually. But listen carefully. Lost does not mean forgotten. Lost simply means you need to be found. The one who finds is already looking for you. Right now. I want you to sit with this truth. You are not lost beyond hope. You are simply being called back to alignment with your true purpose. The one calling you is Jesus Himself. But now we must look deeper. Why does this emptiness exist in the first place? Why does it feel like no matter how much you try, your heart cannot find true peace? Jesus says, this is why you feel lost. You have mistaken temporary lights for the true light of the world. It's the hunger that never ends inside every human heart. There is a hunger that money cannot satisfy, a hunger that human love cannot fully feed, a hunger that achievements cannot silence. Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you get, it is never enough? You thought that once you bought that car or moved into that house or wore that title, you would finally feel whole? Yet days, weeks, or months later, the emptiness returned. This is because the soul is eternal, and only the eternal can satisfy it. To feed your soul with temporary things is like feeding your body with air. It feels like something for a moment, but it never truly fills you. Jesus says, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger again." If your soul is hungry, it is because you have been trying to live without the bread of life. That is why you feel lost. When the compass breaks, life without Jesus is like a traveler without a compass. Imagine walking through a forest thick with trees, with no clear path, no guiding direction. The deeper you walk, the more you lose track of where you came from. That is how many of us live, moving, working, chasing, but without a true compass to tell us where we are headed. And here's the painful truth. Without a compass, it is possible to walk fast and still be lost. You can run in circles, achieve things, look busy, and still be nowhere closer to the truth of your life's purpose. Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Without him, the compass is broken. With him, the path becomes clear. The burden of comparison another. Reason you feel lost is because you have compared your journey to others. You look at the person next to you and think, why are they ahead of me? Why do they seem happier, richer, more stable? Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, blinds you to your blessings, and convinces you that your path has no meaning. Yet here is the truth. God never made you to walk someone else's road. He created you for your own unique story. Imagine a flower trying to bloom by looking at the tree beside it. It will always feel small, always feel late. But if the flower looks to the sun, it will grow at its own pace, in its own beauty. So too, with you, if you keep looking at others, you will always feel behind. But if you fix your eyes on Jesus, you will bloom at the right time. Jesus says, when you compare, you will feel lost. But when you trust me, you will find your appointed path. The heavy chains of shame, there are also those who feel lost because of shame. Something happened in your past, maybe a mistake, maybe a sin, maybe a moment you wish you could erase, and now you walk around carrying invisible chains. Shame whispers, you are not good enough. You are not worthy of love. You are too broken to be found. And when you listen to that voice, you begin to believe that your lostness is permanent. But Jesus says, I came for the broken, for the sinner, for the weary. I came to seek and to save the lost. You see, shame is not from God. Conviction may guide you to change, but shame tries to bury you. And as long as you believe shame's lies, you will feel lost. But the truth is, Jesus does not look at your past the way you do. He looks at your heart, and his love is greater than your deepest failure. When the soul forgets its source most of all, we feel lost because the soul forgets its source. Imagine a river cut off from the spring. At first, the river still flows. It looks alive. It still moves. But slowly, as days pass, the river dries, the fish die, the banks crack. Why? Because it was cut off from the source of its water. That is what happens to the soul disconnected from God. For a while, it looks alive. You go to work, you smile, you post pictures online, you even succeed in some areas. But slowly, something inside starts to dry. The laughter is not as real. The achievements feel empty. The relationships do not satisfy. And deep down, you know something is missing. That missing piece is God. That is why you feel lost. The whisper of hope, but listen carefully, my beloved, lostness is not the end. Lostness is the opportunity to be found. If you feel empty today, it is not because God has abandoned you, but because he is calling you back. Think of it like this. A shepherd does not go searching for sheep that are still in the flock. He goes searching for the one that wandered away. So if you feel lost, it simply means you are the one he is after. That should give you hope. Your lostness is not rejection, it is pursuit. It is proof that you are loved, is proof that Jesus has not given up on you. Part 3. The path back to clarity, beloved soul. We have looked at the causes of lostness, the hunger of the heart, the broken compass, the chains of shame, the burden of comparison, and the forgetfulness of the soul. But now we must journey further. The question is no longer only, why do I feel lost? The question is, how do I find my way back? Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I leave the 99 to seek the one that is lost. I will not rest until you are found. Step 1. Recognizing the voice of the shepherd. When you are lost, the first step is not to run harder, but to listen. A lost sheep does not find its way back by running in panic. It finds its way back by hearing the shepherd's voice. In the noise of your life, can you hear him? Can you pause long enough to feel the whisper that says, you are mine, you are loved, or not forgotten? Sometimes you expect God to shout, to break through in dramatic ways. But more often, he speaks in gentle nudges, a thought that gives peace, a word that resonates in your spirit, a moment of stillness where you suddenly feel seen. Lostness ends the moment you recognize his voice. Step 2. Admitting you cannot walk alone. Another key to finding clarity is humility. Many feel lost because they try to figure everything out on their own. Pride says, I don't need help. I can do this myself. I can fix my life. But pride is the very thing that deepens confusion. Think of a traveler with a broken map. More they insist on following their wrong directions, the more lost they become. But the moment they stop and ask for help, they begin to find the way. Jesus says, call on me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you. To admit you are lost is not weakness, it is strength. Because the moment you surrender, shepherd begins to lead. Step 3. Allowing Jesus to heal the heart, beloved. Listen carefully. You cannot walk in clarity with a broken heart that bleeds. Many people try to rush into new chapters without healing. From the old, they leave one relationship and immediately seek another. They leave one failure and immediately chase another success. But without healing, they repeat the same cycles. Your heart is like soil. If it is full of weeds, pain, bitterness, resentment, no matter how many seeds of purpose are planted, they will not grow. The weeds will choke them. This is why Jesus does not just give you instructions, he heals you first. He cleanses the soil of your heart so new life can grow. That is why sometimes he allows silence, pauses, or delays. It is not punishment, it is healing. Jesus says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Rest is the medicine that heals lostness. Step 4. Reconnecting to identity. One of the deepest reasons people feel lost is because they have forgotten who they are. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are not defined by your failures. You are not defined by other people's opinions. You are defined by the one who made you. Imagine a crown lying in the dirt. To an ordinary passerby, it may look like trash. But to a king, it is still a crown, even if it is covered in mud. So too with you, life may have thrown mud at you, but your identity remains royal. Jesus says, you are chosen, you are beloved, you are mine. When you start seeing yourself the way he sees you, the fog begins to lift. You realize you were never truly lost, you were only blinded. Step 5. Following the light step by step here. Something you must understand. Clarity does not always come all at once. God rarely shows you the entire map of your life. Instead, he gives you light for the next step. Think of walking with a lantern in the dark. The lantern may not light up the whole road, but it shows enough for you to take one safe step forward. After that step, it lights the next. That is how Jesus guides you. Lostness fades when you learn to trust one step at a time. You do not need to know everything. You only need to know the one who does. Step 6. Letting go of what keeps you wandering some. People remain lost because they refuse to release what holds them back. You cannot walk into clarity while dragging chains of unforgiveness, toxic relationships, or hidden sin. These are weights that keep you wandering in circles. Imagine trying to climb a mountain while carrying heavy bags of rocks. The higher you try to climb, the weaker you become, until eventually you collapse. The problem is not the mountain, it is the unnecessary weight. Jesus says, "Lay your burdens at my feet. Let go, and I will carry you." To be found, you must be willing to let go. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the pride. Let go of the lies. When your hands are empty, you are finally free to hold His. The gentle pull of home, beloved. Hear this. The feeling of lostness is not a punishment, but a pull. It is the gentle tug of heaven calling you back. Have you ever been homesick? No matter where you travel, no matter how exciting the trip, there is always a part of you that longs for home. That is what your soul feels when it is far from God. The emptiness you feel is homesickness for heaven. Jesus says, "In my Father's house are many rooms. I go to prepare a place for you." When you feel lost, it is because your spirit remembers home, and the shepherd is walking with you to lead you there. From lostness to living with purpose, beloved soul, we have walked through the valleys of emptiness, confusion, shame, and silence. We have uncovered the reasons why so many hearts feel lost. We have listened to the voice of Jesus calling gently, patiently, relentlessly. And now we must step into the last and most important part of this journey, the transformation that takes place when the lost are finally found. Because, you see, the story of being lost is not the story of your ending. It is the prelude to your awakening. Jesus never reveals your lostness without offering you the map home. He never shows you your brokenness without offering His healing hand. He never uncovers your wounds without preparing to pour oil and wine into them. Jesus says, "This is why. You feel lost in life, but this is also how you will find purpose in me." The power of being found. Let me remind you of something simple yet profound. Being found is not something you achieve. It is something you receive. The sheep does not. Find the shepherd. Shepherd finds the sheep. That is why Jesus is called the Good Shepherd. He does not wait for you to fix yourself, polish yourself, and walk perfectly back to Him. He leaves the 99 steps into the wilderness, crosses the thorns, and finds you right where you are. And when He finds you, He does not scold you. He lifts you on His shoulders and carries you home. When the lost are found, shame turns into song. Fear turns into faith. Confusion turns into clarity. And loneliness turns into love. The shift from wandering to walking with purposelessness feels like wandering in circles. You wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat, and yet the cycle feels empty. But when Jesus finds you, your steps gain meaning. Even the smallest moments, your conversations, your daily work, your quiet times, become infused with eternal purpose. Have you noticed that when someone knows why they are alive, they walk differently? They face storms differently. They handle setbacks differently. Purpose gives direction. It is like a compass that always points true north, no matter how many times the winds blow. Jesus says, "You are not an accident. You are not wandering. Without reason, I knit you together in your mother's womb. Every day of your life is written in my book. From anxiety to peace, when you are lost, the heart is restless. Anxiety becomes a constant companion. You worry about tomorrow, about failure, about whether you will ever be enough. But when you are found, peace enters. Not the shallow peace of circumstances going your way, but the deep peace of knowing you are not walking alone. Jesus says, "My peace I give to you not, as the world gives." This peace is unshakable. It remains even when storms rise. It stays even when people walk away. It holds you steady even when the ground feels unstable. It is the peace of being anchored in someone eternal. From confusion to clarity, lastness is clouded vision. It is like walking through fog. But when Jesus finds you, the fog begins to lift. Slowly, step by step, you begin to see who you are and why you are here. Clarity does not mean you suddenly know every detail of the future. Clarity means you know who holds the future. It means you stop wasting energy chasing what was never meant for you. And instead, you pour yourself into what aligns with God's plan. You begin to say no to distractions and yes to destiny. From Emptiness to overflow. The lost heart is empty. No matter what it receives, it feels like a bottomless pit. But the found heart begins to overflow. Imagine a cup under a fountain. When the fountain flows, the cup not only fills, it overflows. That is what happens when you reconnect with your source. You no longer beg the world to fill you. You become so filled with love, peace, and joy that it spills into the lives of others. You move from saying, "I have nothing," to "My cup runs over." From isolation to belonging. Listness is lonely. It's even when surrounded by people, you feel unseen, unheard, and unknown. But when Jesus finds you, you realize you were never truly alone. You were always seen. You were always pursued. And beyond that, He places you in community. He surrounds you with people who will walk with you, encourage you, and remind you of your worth when you forget. You no longer walk as a stranger. You walk as part of a family. The courage to rise again, being found does not mean life will suddenly be without challenges. Storms will still come. But the difference is this: you will no longer face them as a wanderer. You will face them as one who knows the shepherd is near. Purpose gives courage. When you know why you are alive, even setbacks cannot destroy you. Failure becomes a lesson, not a prison. Pain becomes a teacher, not a chain. Every tear waters the soil of your destiny. Jesus says, "In this world, you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world." Living with eternal vision, the greatest transformation of all is this: when you are found, you begin to live with eternal vision. You stop seeing life as only about houses, jobs, or titles. You realize you are part of something greater, an eternal story. This realization makes you live differently. You forgive more quickly. You love more deeply. You give more freely. You hope more boldly, because you know your life is not measured by earthly standards, but by eternal ones. Lostness ties you to the temporary. Outness anchors you in eternity. The invitation today is, oh now, beloved. The question is not only why do I feel lost? The question is, will I allow myself to be found? Jesus is not far. He is near. He is at the door of your heart knocking. All it takes is one word, one prayer, one surrender. You do not need to fix yourself first. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to pretend to be strong. All you need is to say, "Lord, here I am. I'm tired of wandering. Find me, carry me, and lead me home." Take this moment right now. Close your eyes. Breathe. Whisper in your heart, "Jesus, I feel lost, but I am ready to be found." That simple prayer can change the trajectory of your life forever. Beloved soul, hear me. You are not lost beyond hope. You are not wandering without reason. You are not broken beyond repair. Jesus says, this is why you feel lost in life, because you were meant to be found in me. And once you are found, you will discover purpose, clarity, peace, and joy like never before. So walk with courage. You are found. You are loved. You are chosen. And your life has eternal meaning. If this message has spoken to your heart, do not let it fade. Hold on to it. Live it. Subscribe, because every word shared. Here is a reminder that you are never alone, and you are always one step away from being found by the love of Christ.